Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a fantastic show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Now, this morning I was doing some research, and I came across an article on awfulannouncing.com, and it was centered on some comments that Shaquille O'Neal made on the big podcast, where he was addressing a few things. The first thing he was addressing was the fact that he was already aware. He was already in the know about the fact that the Lakers were going to hire JJ Redick. So he knew that already. Not a big shocker from a Laker. That's not surprising. However, while he was talking, he then brought up an issue that was plaguing him. And the issue he brought up was, why did the Lakers decide to hire JJ Redick over more qualified candidates? Why did the Lakers decide that the best course of action was to overlook coaches who probably weren't even head coaches but had some level of coaching experience from an assistant coach level? Why the Lakers decided to overlook all of those guys and instead go with a guy in JJ Redick who has never coached any team anywhere? And I was like, you know what? Shaq brings up a very important point. And it also makes me think about how people in the media just up there twerking it up all. I mean, just basically disturbing the peace. Everybody up now, everybody's saying the way they talk about JJ Redick on ESPN, you would think is the second coming of Phil Jackson. We've even heard reports that the Lakers are looking to turn JJ Redick into what Pat Riley was. Now, for those of you who didn't hear what Shaq had to say in terms of him questioning the Lakers, I want to play for you now. I'm going to come back and react to what Shaq had to say. Take a listen to his comments here.
You knew?
Oh, yeah, I knew the whole time. And first, let me say this, because I wasn't aware until late. But it makes it look crazy that a guy with no experience can overshadow a guy like Sam Cassell, who's been in the league 15 years, this and that. So just let me say that. No disrespect to JJ, but I think Sam should also be able to get the same looks. But I'm happy for JJ. A lot of pressure. You know, winning games will not be good enough. Expectation when you take that job, when you take the Miami Heat job, when you take a job where there's a lot of talent, the expectation is to win championships. What kind of coach is he? Don't know. I saw something funny on Instagram that said he was a assistant coach for a Brooklyn fourth grade girls team. That's his only coaching experience.
Yeah.
You know, but
he coaches his son, I think.
For me as a player, if I didn't respect the coach, it was easy for me to turn my 100% down. Let me explain. I'm going to give you 100 anyway. But if it's a situation where I know we're not going to go, hundreds is hard to maintain. You know what I mean? That's why when I played for a guy like a Phil Jackson, I already knew his resume. So I knew, because I've sat there and watched him go to the finals 6 times with Michael and win 6 times. So if he says, stop doing this and do something else, I'm going to do it every time because he knows what he's talking about. That's why when I went to Miami, you play for a guy like Pat Riley. He says, do something, you do it, and it wins because I understand their resume. You know, for a guy like me who got all the blame when things didn't go right, if you didn't have that championship experience and I can question you, it was always hard for me to believe in you.
JJ had a few really funny moments, was asked if he wanted to dispel any misconceptions about him. He said, quote, I don't give a f***. So he was very much still JJ Redick. Just by the way, on Sam Cassell is so valued that the Boston Celtics gave him a huge raise so that no one could poach him. But he has been like the next possible head coach for a while.
That's awesome.
Shaq, I was curious. In that press conference, JJ said that he did not talk to LeBron about the job. Do you believe him?
Yeah, I'm starting a website called yeahright.com. Everything goes through LeBron at the Lakers.
They were doing a podcast together.
Exactly. Everything goes through LeBron, and I know that for a fact because when you're in that position as leadership, you get to know everything. So I was in that seat for a long time. Nothing went without my permission. The only time something went down without my permission is when they cut my head and traded me. And then Kobe took over, and nothing went down without his permission. So I know everything that goes on is definitely discussed with LeBron and Rich and those guys. So, it's professional of him to say that we didn't talk about it, but yeah, okay.
So you bring up, you heard what Shaq said, and I think he brings up some important points. I want to go back to an article I read this week, I forgot the source, that was centered on the Lakers president, or I guess the person running the organization, in Jeannie Buss, where the article was essentially saying that Jeannie Buss is too nice to be a billionaire. That's what the article was saying. It was saying that Jeannie Buss is too nice to be a billionaire. And essentially, I think what they were saying was, given the fact that the perception is that LeBron and these guys are the ones that are running the Lakers organization, or rather, we don't even know who's running the Lakers organization, that it reflects poorly on her. Now, why is this important? Here is just my personal view. I believe that when you're in a leadership position, the last thing on your mind should be about whether or not how nice of a person you are. I think that should be the last thing on your mind. Am I a nice person? I think that shouldn't be a priority when you're thinking. I think instead, the most important thing you should be thinking about as a leader is results. That should be the number one focus, in my personal view, of a leader. Are we achieving results? And if we aren't, certain steps and actions need to be made. If your goal is to be the nicest leader in the world, you're not going to be a very successful one. Because the fact of the matter is, people don't respond to nice. People respond to force. People respond to consequences. That's what moves people. Fear of losing my job if I don't deliver. That's what moves people. You being a nice guy or a nice girl is not really what's going to motivate. This is the reality of it. Because after a while, this girl, she's a pushover. We're going to come, I'm going to show up to love and do this later, I'm going to do that, and then in the end, that's going to happen. And I think that seems to be the perception of Jeannie Buss. But let's get to the larger question. Back to Shaq. Why did the Lakers decide to hire JJ Redick? Look, if we look at the current status quo of the Lakers, this is now their fifth head coach in the last, 7-8 years. They just finished firing Darvin Ham, who they employed for just 2 seasons. I think it's first year he made it to the Western Conference Finals. Second year he lost in the first round to the NBA champions. They fired him, some people are saying prematurely. They now go out there and get a coach who has absolutely zero coaching experience. And as a matter of fact, JJ Redick is now filling out his coaching staff with assistant coaches that were actually coaches. Go figure. Nate McMillan, Scott Brooks, these are his assistant coaches. Meanwhile, JJ has never coached anything anywhere. But the Lakers nevertheless decided to go in that direction. Now, the question then becomes, who's to blame if things go to hell? Who's to blame? Are we going to blame LeBron James and Clutch Sports? Or are we going to blame JJ Redick? Or are we going to blame Lakers management? Here's how I would decide who gets the lion's share to blame. Personally, I would blame the Lakers organization and they will get the lion's share. Do you know why? Because they're the ones making the decision. They're the ones. You can have a staff, you can have a high-level manager come and make a recommendation to you. But ultimately, it's your decision to go with their recommendation or not. It's your decision. LeBron is not the one paying JJ Redick. The Lakers are. Now, if you don't have a spine or a backbone and the player can come to you and say, this is the guy we want, and you don't, you must know everything, so go ahead. Then again, that's on you. But it doesn't mean that that player is not culpable of any blame. Of course, they played a role in it. Especially if that player then complains about, we're not where we're supposed to be. To me, this comes down to Jeannie Buss and the Lakers management, which I don't really think there's any, if I'm being honest with you. The Lakers decided to hang a banner of the in-season tournament. Just imagine The Los Angeles Lakers, who have 17 NBA championships, decided to hang an in-season tournament banner in the rafters. That should tell you everything you need to know about the standards and how they have eroded of the Lakers. That tells you everything you need to know. So to Shaq's question, why didn't they go ask the management? They're the ones that hired him.